To Celebrity Radio, it's Alex Belfield talking to some of the country's biggest stars and two of my favourite people. We've got them for you today. They've got a new series starting tonight, Series 2 of How the Other Half Live. And my God, how you two live. Eamonn and Ruth, how are you?
Hiya, Alex. We're good, thank you. How are you?
I am delicious, but not as good as you. I look at your careers and it's amazing, really. I mean, nobody ever said, I love a journalist, because they're generally dull and boring. But you two are journalists that have got a personality. It's so rare, isn't it?
So rare that someone will call us journalists.
I look at what you do. I mean, Eamonn, let's start with you on Sky News. Congratulations on giving it up. I was so worried about you. You worked too hard. I've told you this before. You must be relieved to know that that alarm won't be going off until about maybe, 5 or 6 now instead of 3:30.
One of the things we've learned from How the Other Half Lives is if you do something you love, it won't seem like work at all. And you've got to bear in mind, from my point of view, Alex, this is something that I've wanted to do since I was 10 or 11 years of age. So I'm slightly different than a lot of people with that. And to be able to host your own current affairs program, it is a dream come true. But, there's only so long you can do that. And, since I've been doing it for, 26 years now, it's... I've done it more than anybody in the whole world, being a TV news anchor of a main programme. And, it's time maybe just to get off the conveyor belt for a while. I'm not saying I wouldn't go back, but that's where we're at the moment. And I have to say, after the year that I've been through with the double hip operation, it's nice to step away, and it might be nice to get 2 or 3 months off, and we'll see what happens after that.
You've actually made hip-hop cool again, haven't you, really, with all that going on? People love to follow you, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I put off for so many years. You've got to have a certain amount of time where things have to heal. And one of the great healing factors is sleep. Sleep is one of the main things, and obviously I'm not getting enough sleep.
No. For you, is it still the buzz of a breaking news story? Is that the ultimate thrill for you?
Yeah. One of the things, obviously what I haven't worked out yet is how am I going to react when there is that big news story, when the American elections happen, whatever, and I'm thinking, I'm not going to be involved in that, and I don't think I like that, and I'm not really ready for that. I've got to be sort of weaned off that sort of thing. It'll be quite strange not to watch every news programme and read every newspaper and have an opinion on things, but it'd probably be good for me.
And then we move to you, Ruth, and look at how you handle live TV. I honestly think you're one of the greatest operators in history. I've seen you read an auto cue. I've watched you handle the loose women live. It is extraordinary, and it's such a skill. Congratulations on that. That's a lifetime's work, isn't it?
You're very kind. I suppose it is. I mean, it's years of learning as you go along, isn't it? And when you start out, you're very green, you don't know what you're doing, but I think live television just has that bit of buzz, that bit of adrenaline that keeps you on your toes. I still love it. I like the recorded things we do, obviously, as well, but there's something about live TV that you just can't get enough of, really. And loose women, you never know what's going to happen, what people are going to say. And it is, hosting that, there is a kind of... you have to have somebody that's going to go to the break on time, somebody that's going to get to the next story, and that's how I see my role on that,
Is it still possible to shock you on that show? Is there still anything that anyone could say?
Oh, yeah. There definitely is. Casey Price shocks me still quite often. She's very funny.
It sort of went from a news agenda to being fun, back to news, and now it's gone fun again. And when you've got people like Katie on, there is a risk that she could say something that could get the show taken off air, because she doesn't have your discipline, although she's incredibly popular.
Yeah, she's very popular. And the thing is with Katie, she says what she thinks, She doesn't have a filter, but she's not a stupid woman. No. She knows... She does really know what she can and can't say. But, the thing is with Loose Women, it still does have a news agenda. We were there yesterday discussing Hillary Clinton. We're all women and what we thought about her being ill. And people were saying, she's too old to be the president. So we had a lot to say about that. So, yeah, we like to think that it still has a mixture of fun and current affairs. We still talk about things that are affecting people every day, and particularly women. We have a lot of men who watch Loose Women as well.
It's a great insight, you see. When we don't know much about lady parts and things like that. We can watch you, and within the hour we know more, don't we, Eamonn?
I say that every time. I say, you know what, you would do well. Watch Loose Women if you want to know what women think, how women tick. Watch Loose Women and you'll find out.
Yeah. And then we look at the new series of The Other Half, which I watched last series. I watched the first episode of the new series last night, and it's extraordinary. I mean, New York has to be the sexiest city in the world for a start. There are people living in £50 million pads and think nothing of it. There's wealth and another level of wealth, isn't there?
Yeah, there's been a millionaire and then there's been a billionaire, Alex. And these people are really wealthy because they're making money whilst they sleep. So when you and I aren't in the office, when you and I aren't writing, when you're not doing things, you're not earning money. And that applies to most people who will do a 9-to-5 job. These people cannot help making money because they invest in or own oil and gas or gold or copper or whatever it is, mines, and that's where their money's invested. So they are making money all the time. Maybe they've written a musical or a record and they're just getting royalties coming in, or a book. So they can't help but earn money, and they find it very, very difficult to spend it. So much money do they make. So you're not talking millionaires, you're talking billionaires.
And it's interesting, Ruth, how it's all relative. Of course, to people like me, you and Eamonn are the other half because you live an extraordinary life, but they're another half to you, aren't they? It's extraordinary.
Yeah, and everything's relative, isn't it? There's always somebody that has done better than you. There's always going to be someone that hasn't done as well as you. And listen, I make no apology for working hard. We have done pretty well, and we work in an industry that's pretty well paid. And, you know, we have a nice home, but this is like wealth that's beyond your wildest imagination, really. It's almost not real. It's like, you know, when you play Monopoly, it's like Monopoly money. When people are talking about billions, I don't even know how many zeros a billion is, really. It's kind of way out of our league.
You know, the interesting thing is, Alex, for most people, for most of us, you think, do you know, if I had a conservatory on the back of my house, I'd really have arrived.
Yes.
If we had 2 cars in the drive, or if we had a 50-inch TV screen, or we had a jacuzzi, you know, that would be a statement of how well off we are. And most of us stay within the confines of the rules that are involved in making that. You work hard, you save well, you're very responsible, you do whatever you have to do. And then you realise you're only playing at it. You're not even remotely on the same field as the other team. And this is just wealth that you cannot imagine. And that's the fascination of this programme. It's not that we're judging these people or whatever. We're saying, right, you've got it. Now what do you do with it? And if they buy an ice cream at $1,000, well, that's like pence to them. It's not even like pence to them. And it's a way of showing, look, this is how much money we have, this is what we do. And what seems silly, if they buy, 10 cars, or they buy art, or they buy loads of watches and whatever, we all go, oh, how extravagant, how awful, how wasteful. But actually, when we put our savings in the bank and you're getting 0.5%, they're getting 15 and 20 and 25% for investing in a classic car or an oil painting, whatever. So actually, even their fun is business. Money follows money.
Just very finally about your careers, I started by saying at the beginning, nobody really loves a journalist, and you both are incredible at asking the right question. I sit in awe at how you do it day in and day out, and we see that on This Morning. But what's also great is you can be mucky as well and turn up at whether it's Celebrity Juice or that thing you did on Channel 4 with Kelly Brook. I mean, you don't mind taking risks. Are there ever moments where you go, have we gone too far?
Well, I think the thing is, as you get older, we've both, I'm in the business 36 years, and Ruth, even though she was a secretary 36 years ago, she was working in a TV station as a secretary. So you're what, love, 33 years or so as a broadcaster. So that's a lot of time being in telly studios. And I think we both have the same enthusiasm for what we started out doing. So you can push the boundaries and you can realise that it'll probably all be over very soon. So why not do something different? Why not test yourself with something else? But the main thing is enjoy it. There hasn't been a single day that I've turned up for work and not enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it. It's a tremendous privilege to do what you do. And as I've always said, it beats working for a living. And I always feel quite embarrassed when I look at, my brothers, or I see what my father had to do, people who go out and they, my brothers are postmen and carpet fitters and painters and decorators, whatever. And they go out and they do real jobs and real work. And I turn up to a studio and I get paid for having a laugh with Keith Lemon. You really do have to thank God that say, life's been kind, life's been good. I'm not saying I don't work hard and I don't try and reinvent myself and I don't try and do certain things, but there are harder ways to make money.
Yeah, that feeling of opening a newspaper and finding yourself in it, Ruth, or on the front of those dodgy magazines, does that ever become normal? Do you just ignore it now, or do you go, that's the game. If I want to do TV 5 days a week, they're going to care whether I'm wearing a new bra?
Yeah, and it is the game, and I think you have to accept that. If you don't accept that, I think you're very stupid. You can't expect people to watch you on television every day and not see yourself on those magazines. And actually, there's a lot of competition with those weekly magazines, a lot of competition. They need to sell magazines. And if you're on the front, then I'm assuming that means you must sell magazines for them. And you have to, I suppose, be flattered by that. Most of it makes me laugh. There was one very recently saying too fat for Strictly, which is my favourite so far, because we've been discussing
and that wasn't me.
We've been talking about it on this morning. And the thing is, everything you see in those magazines, if you then read the story inside, it will have been something that I've said either on This Morning or we've said, or something I've said on Loose Women. So it's not untrue. Sometimes they can be a little cruel, but I think you have to be confident in yourself, be confident in your relationship. There's nothing there when, how many years, our first week back from our honeymoon, there was a headline saying that, splits,
it's all over,
or the cracks appearing in their marriage. I just laugh at it now. We've been together a long time.
So. Takes you a while to learn to laugh.
Yeah.
And I think you can't laugh on behalf of, our elderly parents. Both our mothers are late 80s, and they won't be laughing at it. And, one day my son was with a friend in the newsagents. We were about to get on a plane, go on our summer holidays, and it said Eamonn and Ruth to split, Eamonn and Ruth to divorce, or whatever. And it was a funny joke story inside. It had nothing to do with the headline, but I glanced up and saw him looking at this on the shelf, and I saw his face, and he was very shocked, and he looked at me, and I went, son, and I was really angry, and I lifted it, and it was such rubbish inside, and so for then 10-year-old's mind is different than however prepared we are for it. So Ruth's right, we've learnt to be more philosophical about it.
Yeah. We know the truth about our relationship, so you can't let things like that hurt you, can you?
Not at all. Do you realise how lucky you both are to have your level of talent, success and happiness? So few people achieve that, let alone for the length of time that you've had it. It's a remarkable life, isn't it?
I suppose I don't know, Alex. It's the life that we lead. It's the life we do. We work hard. It doesn't. Some people it comes easy too. I think we both think we've worked very hard to survive. I think the main thing is doing what we do is surviving. And anybody can get on the front cover of a magazine, and anybody can be a one-hit wonder on a show and whatever it is. But if you can survive and reinvent yourself, or whatever skill you're deemed to have, stands by you for 36 years.
But don't you think it's about being credible, though? When I see Bieber getting his little man sausage out to get in the papers, there's desperation publicity to stay relevant, and then there's doing credible stuff that keeps you relevant. It's a fine line, isn't it? Have you ever considered that, Eamonn? Maybe this is the next move after Sky News.
Maybe it is. Maybe I consider what I should get out next for the next photo shoot.
You could be on a kayak together, and Ruth could look rather stern whilst you... The new series of How the Other Half Live starts tonight on Channel 5. I really love you both very much, and you are so talented and warm, and the public can't get enough of you, and it's good stuff that you do. We wish you all the best in the future, Eamonn, post Sky News. You're there for another couple of months yet, and of course this new series starts tonight. ITV, we've got Loose Women with Ruth. My God, this is a list to read out. And then, of course, you do This Morning Together on a Friday. We love you very much. Thanks for your time.
Thanks,
Alex. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.